Newborn babies a unique form of personhood as treatable patients through various and successful surgeries on babies in utero. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Others here who are speaking in support of the bill, please come forward. Seeing none, those who are here to speak in opposition, please come forward. Again, brief, concise, and non-repetitive. And please identify yourself.
Hi, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Catherine Grenier, and I am the director of the Women's Rights Project at the American Civil Liberties Union of Virginia. To be brief, we are in opposition to this bill for the following reason. We believe that the bill would undermine the ability of women and their families to make personal and private decisions. We may not all agree about abortion or when life begins, but we hope that we can agree that this is a personal decision that should be made by a woman, her family, and her doctor, not the legislature. We have some concerns about the fact that this bill could be used to ban commonly used FDA-approved methods of birth control, including the pill and emergency contraception. We also are concerned over the bill's possibility for far-reaching, dangerous consequences on important life decisions that Virginians make every day. For example, giving legal status to fertilized eggs could block stem cell research from being used for life-saving care, could prevent couples from using in vitro fertilization to have a family, and could even deny a pregnant woman life-saving medical treatment from a disease like cancer if the treatment might harm a fertilized egg. We are worried over the possibility for this bill to endanger women's health and lives by interfering with doctors' ability to treat miscarriages and ectopic pregnancies. A woman experiencing a miscarriage or who has an ectopic pregnancy may need emergency treatment to prevent serious damage to her health or even save her life. But by granting legal status to a fertilized egg, the bill raises the specter that a doctor who provides the care the woman needs could be subject to criminal prosecution and civil suits. And I'll end by saying that this bill would lay a legal foundation to outlaw abortions in Virginia in the event of a reversal of current Supreme Court precedent, even for rape and incest victims, or when the life of the woman is at risk. Giving legal rights to fertilized eggs could impact literally thousands of laws as well, from when property rights are granted to inheritance rights or who can file a lawsuit, would allow lawyers in the courts to reinterpret every Virginia law and regulation that contains the word person, which clogs up the court system at the expense of the Commonwealth's taxpayers.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry, Senator. Ma'am, would you take questions from the committee member?
Sure, of course.
Senator Newman.
Chairman, just one of the clarifications related to part of your testimony is regarding birth control and even emergency birth control. I'm sure you're aware, are you not, on the mode of operation of those products, is that correct?
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, further question.
Senator Newman.
Given the fact that both work as delayed or eliminating ovulation for the month, would you not agree that in birth control and even emergency birth control that there will not be conception, because if you don't have ovulation, you can't have conception?
That is certainly correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
If you don't mind saying, I would like...
Ma'am, just a second. Would you take further? The witnesses are not compelled to take questions. They always ask whether you would entertain. Would you entertain a question from Senator Norton?
I'm happy to. My apologies.
No, ma'am, it was actually more of a comment in regarding contraception. If we talk about IUDs...
are you directing a question to the witness?
A clarification of what was just said about conception.
Well, we're going to get to committee discussion on the bill. We're now hearing from witnesses. Is the proper posture we're in right now. I don't want to cut you off if you're asking her a question, but we'll have the opportunity to have discussion ourselves in just a few minutes.
Well, I would ask, would be willing to explain how an IUD works for the committee?
Sure. In my what is probably limited knowledge compared to a medical professional, I'm happy to explain that. And an IUD is a device that either prevents ovulation either through there's a hormonal IUD that works much like the birth control pill. That
I didn't mean to put you on, so I can explain that later.
We're going to have a chance for the committee to make all the statements in the world they want to make. Other witnesses who are here in opposition to Senate Bill 1378, please come forward and identify yourself.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the subcommittee. My name is Jessica Honke, and I'm the Director of Public Policy for Planned Parenthood Advocates of Virginia, and we're here to propose these bills today. I think the ACLU is absolutely some great examples of the consequences of what passing this bill will do in Virginia. So therefore, I will just limit my remarks to the fact that we oppose this bill. And healthcare decisions should be made between individuals, their doctors, and family, and free from government intrusion. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your testimony. Others here to speak in opposition to the bill.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, my name is Tarina Keene. I'm the Executive Director of NARAL Pro-Choice Virginia. And again, I think that Kathy with the ACLU wrapped this up pretty nicely. We are opposing the bill, but I just want to point out that this really is an extreme bill. And when it's been brought up in other states, it has failed time and again. And when put to the voters, 77% voted down a personhood ballot initiative in Colorado in 2008. And in 2009, the North Dakota legislature considered the same type of bill, but it too was voted down. And Montana, Alabama, Maryland, and South Carolina have also made unsuccessful attempts. They voted down these measures not just because they are obviously unconstitutional, but most people do not support the contention that an embryo or a zygote is a person. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Ma'am, will you take a question?
I do.
Has any state adopted a bill similar to this? Or a measure similar to this, either as a referenda or as a bill?
As far as I know, there was a policy statement that was made by the state of Missouri, but everywhere else in terms of legislation or ballot initiatives to change the Constitution, those have all failed.
Mr. Chairman, when you say policy statement, that means it's not legislation. Is that what you're saying?
That's my understanding.
In Missouri, so there's no state that has adopted this as a law.
Yeah, that's my understanding, yes.
Thank you.
Others here to speak in opposition? Okay, Senator Stanley, we'll go back to you before we put the matter before the committee for action.
And may it please, with regard to Senator Edwards' question posed to the witness,
matter before the committee for action.
and may it please, with regard to Senator Edwards' question posed to the witness, Missouri has passed not a policy statement, but a law that was in 1986 that was also reviewed by the United States Supreme Court. The wording of that law was identical to the bill before you right now, Webster versus Reproductive Health Services, 492 U.S. 490, decided by the United States Supreme Court in 1989, upholding the efficacy of the law. Just help us read.
Mr. Chairman, is there any other state,
Senator Edwards,
Missouri, that has adopted this as a policy or as a law? Any other state besides Missouri?
Senator Edwards, the only thing that I did when I did my research on this was grab the Webster case. So I can only speak to Missouri.
Thank you. Senator Stanley, any other wrap-up you would like to give the committee before we put it to the committee for action?
No, Mr. Chairman, only that with regard to the witnesses who so kindly came up here and spoke in opposition to the bill, this is not a health care decision. This is just the legal status. The ultimate effect of this is to create legal status for unborn in cases where there is wrong possessed, most certainly. But thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator. The bill is before the committee for action. What's your pleasure?
Substitute motion, Mr. Chairman.
Just a second. Was there a second to the motion to report?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. Senator Sandoval.
Substitute motion. And that bill be passed by indefinitely.
Is there a second?
Speaking to the motion, sure.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be PBI. Senator Martin. On the motion to PBI.
Yes, I'm confident which way this will go. The committee is such that we've addressed these kinds of issues many times before, but I just want to observe and in agreement with what Senator Stanley just said just a few moments ago. The language of this bill is clearly not addressing a health decision here. It is in fact determining whether or not the life of an unborn child is worthy of this protection or not. And so I would just want to make that observation, and of course I'm going to vote against the motion to PBI.
Further discussion on the motion to PBI? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to PBI signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Call the roll.
Senator Sasslaw.
PBI.
Aye.
Senator Lucas.
Aye.
Senator Howell.
Aye.
Senator Edwards.
Aye.
Senator Whipple.
Aye.
Senator Locke.
Aye.
Senator Barker.
Aye.
Senator Northam.
Aye.
Senator Miller.
Aye.
Senator Quayle. Senator Martin. Senator Newman. Senator Rupp. Senator Blevins. Senator Howell.
Aye.
10 ayes, 5 no.
The motion to PBI is approved on a 10-5 vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Stanley, thank you. Not sure. Senator. Senator Smith, I believe you have two bills. Senator Openchain, I'm surprised by the committee you may have more than Senator Smith, so I'm going to let him go ahead if that's acceptable.
Mr. Chairman, are we still in the easy?
Well, we don't know. We've been wondering a little bit, so you're up at the podium, so why don't you tell us which bill you'd like to present. We're just going to have to go ahead.
Okay. How is this? Senate Bill 1435.
Members, give your attention to Senator Smith, 1435. You'll find it on page 5 of your docket summary. Senator Smith.
Requires that women seeking an abortion be offered an ultrasound. This bill mandates that